Kelly. I'm Director of Community Planning with Mackin. We were hired by the borough. We've been working in the borough for the past couple of years. First on a comprehensive plan update, which was adopted recently by the borough. And then out of that comprehensive plan, there was a recommendation to look at creating a downtown zoning district within the current Bridgeville zoning ordinance. So I was brought back on board to work with the borough to create an amendment for your zoning ordinance that would create this downtown zoning district. So up here, I'm just going to go through some slides really quickly. If you have a question though, as I'm going through, feel free. We can stop and answer it as we go. So the project purpose, consistency with the comp plan. As I mentioned, the borough recently adopted their comprehensive plan update. One of the primary recommendations was to look at the downtown and business area as a focus area for the plan. And then one of those key action items from that section of the plan was to create a separate zoning district for the downtown area. Currently, your downtown is included in your mixed use district, so it is lumped in with all of the different commercial areas within the borough. So one of the reasons that we talked about creating a downtown district separate from your mixed-use district is that you have a very walkable, unique downtown that a lot of people throughout the comp plan mentioned numerous times that it was important to keep that character, really important to protect the downtown. So looking at the National Main Street Guidance, so looking beyond what we heard in the comp plan, but looking at some national standards, when creating a district for a downtown business district, things to think about are to allow uses that are complementary and not auto-oriented, especially with your, excuse me, walkable downtown. Encourage design consistency with your buildings, keep that character of the downtown, and again, to promote walkability and safety. So those are all things that we're keeping in mind as we went through this process. Further on with the National Main Street Center, they have this transformation strategy that they utilize when they're looking at what makes a good downtown and how to protect a downtown district. And there's this transformation strategy there in the middle where you see the different colors, looking at economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization. So this project focused primarily on that design a component. But the comp plan did also talk about promoting your downtown as well as potentially creating an organization for your downtown. But this project specifically was just looking at the zoning. So here is a district map. So if you can see, this is Washington Avenue here. So the boundary is this red dotted line, which is primarily buildings, properties that front on Washington Avenue, as well as a few of your side streets that are adjacent to what most people consider your downtown area.
Is that from bridge to bridge, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the boundary with South Fayette. Up here is your boundary with Collier. So it is bridge to bridge along Washington Avenue with a few of those side streets also included. So again, looking at promoting or permitting businesses that support your goal of your downtown, and you'll see there things like retail stores, allowing mixed use, potentially smaller hotels, grocery stores, spas or other sort of personal services, bakeries, theaters, things like that, that people will come to, that they can walk to from your area, but it might also bring in some folks from the region to utilize your businesses. Again, kind of trying to stay away from gas stations, service plazas, car washes, drive-throughs, because those are more auto-oriented, things that you should permit, but perhaps not in your downtown core. And currently, with your mixed-use district, all of those different types of uses are allowed in the mixed use, which is also your downtown. Building on the uses, you also want to look at regulations, excuse me, that support your goal. So we looked at dimensional requirements. So those are requirements about how your building is built on the lot. So in the downtown update, we looked at 0 setbacks, so the buildings can be built up to the sidewalk, keeping with that character. Full lot coverage, meaning you can cover the full lot, you don't have to, like in some more suburban areas, you have to leave space around the building. No parking minimums. So currently, you don't have parking minimums for your downtown unless, well, you have to be within what,
600 feet.
600 feet of a parking lot. So we decided to keep with that and not require parking minimums in the downtown. Looked at some design guidelines, things like, this is when you're developing a property, things to keep in mind and that the borough would promote through the zoning process is eliminating blank walls, so make sure you have windows, parking in rear if needed. Again, off-street parking is not required, but if the business or property owner wants to put in parking, that parking should be in the rear. Allowing outdoor spaces, outdoor dining, that kind of thing. Ensuring building transparency, so back to that first bullet, at least 50% clear windows and doors on the building. Appropriate signage, so what kind of signage is appropriate for downtown? So more of the wall signs, the projecting signs, things like that, not billboards. Front facade oriented to the main street, so when you're looking at the building from the main street, you're looking at the front door. And then sidewalks. So that's also a subdivision and land development requirement, but it's good to be consistent with your zoning. So you have sidewalks, so you continue to promote sidewalks for that walkability.
LED signage, no?
I'm sorry, this is a public hearing. If you're going to want to speak, we can't allow the public to speak. If you do want to speak,
If you do, I'm
just...
sorry.
I'm sorry,
And
so
I
that's
said
what-
that, earlier,
Okay.
but I was mistaken. You do have to sign. I forgot this is a public hearing. That was my fault.
Of course.
And that, so then you're requiring sidewalks. In terms of the signage, we pretty much kept what you currently have for your mixed-use district in terms of sign regulations. It's just the types of signs. You know, again, no billboards, not a lot of the pole signs and that kind of thing, but looking at more appropriate buildings signage, again, projecting signage, that canopy signage, awning signage, that kind of thing. And that's about it for the presentation. So I will let you go through your list here.
Yeah, maybe you can unclip it and give it to Joe.
Okay.
And I'm Joe Cower, I'm the borough manager and the zoning officer, and just to understand, we weren't being very strict about the back and forth. It's just to understand this is a public hearing, it's a rather formal proceeding. There's a stenographer here making a record. So if people were screaming out from the audience, there's no way that the stenographer will be able to do her job. So that's the reason for that comment. So I just wanted you to understand that.
Solicitor McDermott?
Yes, I don't have anything to add to the fine summary on the zoning ordinance itself, just for the hearing purposes. I wanted to maybe Joe can walk through just for the record and make the record of what you did to advertise, post,
Certainly,
etc.
yes.
Notice of the public hearing, by way of legal notices in the paper, posted notices in the territory, and letters that went out to all the affected property.
So we'll enter this into the record as
Sure.
Exhibit 1.
Sure.
So, for the stenographer, the first thing entered into the record is the proof of publication, giving official public notice in the newspaper of tonight's public hearing. It's for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The legal advertisement for tonight's hearing was ran in the August 21st and August 28th local Extra South edition of the Post-Gazette. There's also a letter dated August 8th, 2025 from myself to all property owners within the proposed downtown zoning district. The third thing as part of Exhibit 1 is a listing of all parcels that are within the new proposed downtown zoning district. and the property owners and their mailing addresses to where the August 8th letter was sent. The notice was also posted on the borough website, and there's a copy of the borough website posting, and then notices were hard posted within the proposed district. There were 15 notices posted throughout on the streets that the new district composes, and there's pictures of those postings.
Thank you, Ms. McCarron. Mr. Chairman, I can attest that that more than satisfies the legal requirements to apply to.
Okay. We're going to go to public comment. Roberta?
I'm Roberta Durion, yes.
Yes, would you like to speak, please?
Yes.
If
I
you can
have-
state your name and the address for the
Roberta
record.
Durion, 515, 519 Washington Avenue. And I did own the corner of 500, the building on 500. I'm very concerned about Bridgeville, and I feel that the zoning is fine in what you're doing. But I think what other problems we have in Bridgeville is, number one, is the part or the cars coming through. 90% of those cars are just going through. Now, the older people, they park their cars, they have to walk across the street. And I've noticed that there's quite a few offices, and there used to be, we had doctor's offices, dentist offices, insurance offices. That's not there anymore. I don't see that coming into Bridgeville because of the parking, because it's just not coming because the older people, they don't, want to walk across the street, and that's a big problem. I don't know what, other people think, but I think something has to be done with the vehicles coming through Bridgeville. It's a bottleneck. And it was always a viral time. Believe me, I've been here since 1972. And we built 2 big buildings on the front street, and I'm very concerned about Bridgeville.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Drion.
So, thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Joanne Mendes,
Yeah,
if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Joanne Mendes, 438 Washington Avenue. Bridgeville, PA. What did you want me to,
Glad you can address,
well, I agree a lot with what Mrs. Drion said about the traffic going through, and that's basically what it does. It doesn't stop. And I have to say, I've had that building for, 50 years maybe, and it's true. I live in South Fayette, not South Fayette, I'm sorry, Canonsburg now. And I came through, I come often because I have to come to the salon sometimes, but the thing about it is there's a new bakery there, and it's been there. I say new because I've known it was there, and I want to stop, but there's never anywhere to stop. If someone's right there, I have to park in the parking lot, and it wasn't in my schedule for that day, so I don't stop. So that's a big field. The parking is a problem for people to stop and go through the town and use the facilities that are there, the storefronts.
so just as a question to clarify, so parking,
Well,
half a block down behind the
Well,
Calusi building to get to the
yeah,
bakery is too
if
far, or?
If I were coming to Bridgeville to park and do something other than that, yes, I would stop. But I come to do something at the salon, I'm needed there, and I don't stop because I have other things to do. But I think that she's right, the traffic that comes through is mostly just through traffic, and everybody complains about bottleneck. Parking, our clients, we don't encourage it. I don't have a salon anymore, I rent it to someone else. We never had a problem, but we do use, not me, but the clients that come to the salon use Beinhauer's parking lot. And they have been okay with it, although I've had some instances where the girls tell me that Mr. Beinhauer's not real happy about that. But They don't use the regular parking lot. Most of them come in the back door as opposed to parking in the lot and walking down. It wasn't the case when I was there. That, we always used the front door. The back door was for someone picking someone up. But I think one of the things too, there's not enough people that live in Bridgeville. You know, all the other communities have buildings, high rises, and when I first bought the shop in 1974, I think it was, there were apartment buildings and such around, and people would come to the salon for that. And I have to say, for me, the salons in the area bring a lot of business into town. They bring a lot of women and men into town. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But do they stop and go shopping after? I don't, you know, maybe some. But I don't know what you plan to do. Say, you said zoning. My building is zoned for, I think it's zoned for commercial, right? Okay, so I don't know what, you're not gonna change any of that, are you? Because that's where no, okay, so I understand, and she does, I don't know, where are you, right here. Brandy said that she wants to bring people in, or, you know, have viable businesses that come in and bring other people in, and people that, you know, go there. I don't know about the restaurants. I haven't been living here for a while, so it's almost 20 years that I moved, but I love Bridgeville. And you know, every time I come through, I just think it's lovely, but I think it does need something. I don't know that I'm the answer, but I think that the parking is a big thing. And people don't want to walk, even from the parking lot to they don't want to walk. They want to be dropped off at the door and picked up at the door.
I guess that, we're not gonna get into parking today,
Yeah,
but
well, I'm old too, but I mean, I know how that goes.
being a half a block away, I mean, that seems like
Yeah.
it's sufficient, but,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Ms. Mendes.
Okay.
Mr. Donovan.
Hi, my name is James Donovan, and I own the property at 318.5 Washington Avenue. It's a residential property. And my question is, there's a number of residential properties in the lower end of Bridgeville. And is this zoning going to affect any of those residential properties?
I could answer. Right now, currently, those properties are non-conforming uses. In the mixed-use zoning district on Washington Avenue, single-family homes aren't permitted. However, what you have there is non-conforming uses, and that's not going away. So there'll be no change to you.
So in other words,
that
I'm grandfathered in as far as that.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, how about if I have to do, if that house burns and has to be rebuilt?
There's a whole body of law on what happens if you have total destructions, partial destruction. I will say, short of catastrophic events like that, Pennsylvania law actually gives substantial protection to grandfathered uses.
Can I ask a question related to this? I would assume that's for businesses as well, like if you have a certain business, it's grandfathered.
Yeah, there's two ways things can be grandfathered. By use and grandfathered use. You're allowed to have a bakery, now you're not, you can keep your bakery. That's an
Just
example.
one more.
We're not taking away bakeries. Or you have a non-conforming lot. It doesn't fit the geometry, but you can't change it. Those are always protected.
So just to clarify, so current business owners who have businesses in Bridgeville right now, this isn't really going to be affecting them as they currently exist?
No, and actually the ones that do exist, they actually have common law, case law protections, substantial in Pennsylvania on their right, not only to continue to exist, but even sometimes to expand and modify their uses as the market evolves.
One more part of that is the fact that it's a rental property that's still, you're still grandfathered in.
Yeah, government doesn't zone
Okay.
rental versus ownership.
Good enough.
Own use.
Okay. I think this is Deb Chabal.
Chavatura.
Oh, sorry.
440 and 442 Washington Avenue. I'm Chartiers Custom Pet Cremation. I've been here for 20 years. Last time probably was in this particular room. I was fighting for my business, and I don't know if at the time everybody was like, oh, let's have a pet crematory in Bridgeville. But I think the market is what will tell you what is going to survive and what isn't going to survive. And if you get, let's say, 5 big shops, I bet you they're not gonna survive because you can't probably deal with that. So I guess I think that as businesses approach you, you should kind of look at them and give them a chance to prove themselves as opposed to, no, you can't be here. Because, you know, Bridgeville has grown and changed. I mean, when I think about what was in my building 60 years ago, there was a bakery in there. You know, we have a bakery around the corner, and I will say that I go there very often, as you can tell, and, you know, I can always either park there or park behind, so I don't really feel that we don't have parking. I think we do have parking. It's just, if you go to a strip mall, I guarantee you, you're gonna walk as far as you're gonna walk from here. I just don't see that it's really that much of a problem. So I'm a very happy business in Bridgeville. I advocate for new businesses to come to Bridgeville, things maybe that you've never heard about. Because the world is changing and we need to welcome new businesses. So that's my comment.
Well said, thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak?
I think I would like to add something else.
Sure.
Since I've had the commercials that long, very, very long, I think that there should be some people that I've gone to way back and said, why did you take the railroad spur and put parking on both sides, maybe, you know, because the parking lots are always full. The residential from the high-rise, they park in the parking lots, because some of them park in my lot, and I know that it's always full. Usually it's always full. But I went up and down the street after I got the letter, and we do have a lot of empties. And what's coming in is we got, what? We got a tattoo, we got a gambling place, we got a, well, you name it, smoking place. We do not have the businesses coming in for our rentals. So, you know, something has to be done, or Bridgeville is just gonna be a blighted area. That's the way I feel.
Well said, and those are all conversations that are happening at the Concord, or the Planning Commission as well. I mean, that's what sparked some of this
Well, this is
conversation.
very important to us, you know, when the taxes come
Absolutely.
around and your building is empty, you know, it's not easy.
No, I
And
agree with
it's
Ms. Grill.
really-
And again, Planning Commission these are all kinds of conversations that every last
Well, that's
Monday
why
of the
they should
month.
be brought up before, you know, you're gonna go in and zone something.
And if I might echo on the chairman's comments, the planning commission actually spent quite a lot of time coming up with this, with the comprehensive plan that led to the concept of creating the zoning district. And they had several public meetings and outreach meetings at the planning stage before they even brought it to this stage. This is kind of like the final inning of a long process they've
It's
done.
been a long, long time, excuse me, a long, long time that we've been waiting for something like, get the traffic out. How are you gonna get it out? It's a bottleneck.
Now, and aside from the zoning, as they said, they've been doing a lot on transportation, flow through 50 and through the community.
There's just no
And
people that wanna walk across the street.
I get it.
There's older people that come into this town, they get their taxes done. They don't wanna walk across the street.
Yeah. And Ms. Grill, I think this, just to make sure we're coming back to the focus, this is the base on what type of businesses are going to be on the main.
Well, what
main
you see
street.
is what you're getting,
Well,
okay?
I hear you, and that probably is maybe more of a conversation that we could have in the general meeting, but those are definitely things that have been talked about for months and months.
No, years and years.
Specific things to get to the point that we are about what you're bringing up, and that's part of what the purpose of this meeting.
Well, I won't be around to see it, but it's been years and years, let me tell you.
Okay, well, thank you.
And I think that our consultant Randy and the PC would chime in. What they're trying to do here is kind of create the architecture that would help bring the vision that I think you're articulating about the uses that are amenable to a thriving downtown, mixed uses. With actual, it would continue to encourage folks living downtown, whether a lot of those second floors got converted to more rental units that would serve and be served by restaurants that are kind of blooming over the last couple of years, and we would hope continue to bloom, the new stuff that they hope will develop in the corridor between
Where's the
Barker Road
restaurants?
and.
The restaurants are going out.
There's several coming in.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, thank you. Sir, if you could state your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is John Kingman. My address is 1806 Frick Building, Pittsburgh, VA. I'm counsel for the Bayling Family Interest. I prepared a little memo on your ordinance and have attached to that the more than half dozen properties that are in the overlay district as proposed, or the new zoning district that my client owns or has an interest in. First of all, I do a lot of zoning and land use work, and I have to say I think the ordinance is pretty good. There are some things that I noticed in reviewing it that I wanted to bring to your attention that I think could make the ordinance better, and then there were a couple of things that I think were worthy of discussion. And I do know Mr. McDermott, and we've been, colleagues of his for years. So the first is in section 7B01B1. We should think that accessory parking should be expressly permitted as adjacent to a use or a property that's there. It's not really clear from the way the ordinance is written that it is expressly permitted. We think that people who have room on their lot to have some parking should be able to have some parking. Section 7B02, these are the bulk regulations that reference section 702 of your existing ordinance, and we think they can click a little bit with section 7B05. Specifically, the ordinance seems to say that you want the building brought up to the sidewalk, or if there are other buildings that are there to sort of meet that setback where those buildings are. And the ordinance the other section of the ordinance that you referenced have a 25-foot front yard setback. So it's just a conflict that I think with the language tweak, you guys can do what you need to do. And we did run into this issue in the city a couple times where you can have a building and you have a space or two. So I think you want to be clear that it's measuring from the closest two buildings or adjacent buildings to establish that setback line along the road. And I also think that does conflict with your design standards. So it's just, again, make them consistent. Section 7B053 talks about ground floor transparency. You guys had 50%, which is a very reasonable number. But that should be from 3 feet to 8 feet, which is essentially the way that those calculations are traditionally done in an ordinance, as opposed to the whole facade having to be 50%. Because, beneath the water table and sort of above the mechanicals, that's not a great place to be transparent. I also noted that you do have the marijuana dispensaries and those medical uses permitted in this district. HIPAA doesn't necessarily allow you to have full transparency there, so again, it's just a language tweak that you may want to put that, people can have lines down in their waiting rooms, or they can obscure the transparency a little bit so you're not running into HIPAA. 7B054 talks about the definition of, it talks about no blank walls. I just think we need to add what a blank wall is. In terms of additional provisions that at least I think my client would like to see, there should be a process, and I heard the lady speaking earlier about, and the gentleman speaking earlier about non-conforming buildings, and your solicitor is 100% right. Pennsylvania has very strong law and protection on existing non-conforming uses and non-conforming structures. But what I would like to see is somebody whose client has some of these non-conforming buildings is an ability to specifically register them. We've run into this a lot in the city of Pittsburgh, which is its own separate mess, but without having a registry or an ability to register those nonconformities, time passes, people pass, properties pass, and it's hard to be able to go back and say, well, what was there at the time the ordinance was adopted and how is that preserved? So I think adding a provision that would allow the registration of nonconformities would protect those businesses that are there who may not be conforming under the new ordinance. So it just adds an extra layer of protection to the grandfathering that, as Mr. McDermott said, and he and I are in complete agreement, Pennsylvania law is very good and strong for it, but this just gives people a little bit extra protection on it. And then the only other thing that I thought was interesting about the way you guys drew your map is there are some parcels that could potentially be split zoned or inside, I should say, developable parcels that are, some are inside the zoning district, some are outside the zoning district, but they're 10 feet beside each other. And we've run into that a little bit on a couple of the pieces that we have, where some of them may front on Washington Pike, but they back up on Darby Way, or you have Brookville Street, or all these other locations. And I think there should be a conditional use type procedure that would allow for a developable tract that is in multiple zones to be able to be developed cohesively, as opposed to having to comply with each zoning ordinance. And you can make it that it's the more restrictive, you could handle it however you want, but just as somebody who's has a client who has some pieces that one day will be developed, I think it makes sense to think about that on a going-in basis to say, well, as a conditional use, if you have a split zone piece, is there a way that we can develop it and apply just one set of rules as opposed to two set of rules that may be conflicting in terms of bulk regulation type, et cetera. So those were just my quick comments. I passed out a little memo with them. As I said, I was pleasantly surprised when I read the ordinance, not because of Bridgeville, but because I read so many bad ordinances. I think you guys did a good job with it, and these are just some tweaks that I suggested to make it, I think, stronger and more user-friendly for what you guys are trying to do. So happy to answer any questions, but that's my quick take.
I'm happy, if I might, to be able to call you and
happy
go
to.
through a couple of these.
Yeah.
Like, for example, on the last one you mentioned, and you don't have to answer now. In your client's example, where you have split zone property, are there instances where your client would suggest, hey, why don't you do the whole parcel in the zone as opposed to dealing with a split zoning issue?
Right. I think the problem comes with the idea of the Washington overlay, the way you guys have drawn it, and I think these are also questions that come up, that are probably 5 or 10 years down the road as the next generation takes the piece of it. But I think you can solve that with a conditional use approach to this type of thing.
Clarifying question about that. When you're talking split zone, we did not split any parcels. Your client may own multiple parcels in different districts, but none of these parcels are split.
Right.
So every parcel is within one zoning district.
Right. When I
So what were you talking
when I
about?
say split zone, I mean looking at it as a developable tract, how you would develop. So I agree that in fact, you can even see on your boundary line that
We drew it around the parcel lines.
you drew it around the parcel
Because
line.
you don't want split zoning parcels, since that's not a good.
Right, nobody wants that. But what I was saying is some of those parcels that you have are small, and they would lend themselves to be developed as multiple tracts on the block. So here, I can show you an example.
And the zoning zoning ordinance, as we're doing here, obviously can always be amended. So if we want to make sure we have a good base, but if there's an opportunity in the future, just so council is aware, that, there's a property owner that owns multiple parcels that wants to develop them as the downtown regulations rather than a different district that maybe 1 or 2 of his parcels are in, the map can always be amended to add those if appropriate. So that's just
And it sounds like in the meantime, John, that you'd actually like to keep, your client would like to keep its options open with regard to those, as opposed to, hey, why don't you include those two other parcels?
Right, because some of them have existing uses on it right now, which are fine and probably going to be there for, 5 or 10 years. It's a question of thinking of the future. Just for example, this upper corner, you have that, it would make sense to be able to try and develop that as a unified tract, right? It's not now, but it's something that could happen in the future. And what I was saying, if you were developing it, you would want to opt in to the downtown district as opposed to opting out. So we've seen that done as a conditional use in the past to allow that in that type of
I'm
situation.
not familiar with that,
Yeah,
so
we're
I'll
happy
leave
to
that
take a
up
look
to
at
the
that if you wanna.
attorneys.
Yeah.
And just as an FYI too, if we amend the map at this point, which is fine, we can, but if you do, you'll have to
Sure.
redo your public hearing process.
Right, and I wasn't arguing for amending the map. I was just saying that you could add an option to it that would clean that up, and it actually incentivizes development in the future, because you're saying, look, we're willing to, if there's a tract that comes in, that's not zoned, we're willing to look at it as a holistic approach.
Okay. Any other comments? We are going to adjourn. Oh, yes, sir.
John Duncan, 120 Warner. I could have some, my question answered with the residential, but I'm back on Warner off of Main Street, never really considered, being part of the main drag. Just wondered how it got, how it got zoned in that area.
You currently are within the mixed-use zoning district, so essentially you just not leave that one little sliver of mixed use. It was just included.
Okay, oh yeah, because I thought it was zoned commercial a while back.
The borough had a structure change of its zoning ordinance in about 2015, I think it was.
Yeah,
We don't have a commercial district, we have mixed-use zoning district. If you look at the wall, essentially everything that's red above the fire chief there is the M, which is the mixed-use zoning district. We do have an overlay that does the Baldwin Street and McLaughlin Run road areas that allows single-family homes and essentially everything that you can have in the mixed-use zoning district. So if you look at that map, if you made the downtown area, and as Brandy alluded to, just so that you didn't leave some areas out, like when you look at Shady Avenue, how about the funeral home side of Shady Avenue was included in the mixed-use zoning district. It made perfect good sense to leave Warner in this than have it default out.
Okay, thanks.
Last call. We're going to adjourn the public meeting. Thank you. If there's anybody that wants to speak at the public meeting, if you could sign up at the podium, it would be greatly appreciated. We'll start up. If we could please rise and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing for a moment of silence for our sick, handicapped military personnel and recently departed of our community. Thank you. We can go on record that the time of the meeting started at 7:13. Mr. Kennard, if you could do a roll call, please.
Mr. Verducci?
Here.
Mr. Gallarducci?
Here.
Mrs. Rowley? Here. Mr. Ferry? Here. Mr. Franchek? Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Sarasik? Here. Mayor Copeland? Here. Solicitor McDermott? Here. Engineer Heil? Here. I'm Joe Power. Chief James? Here. Chief Castain? Here. Chief Miller?
Here. Yeah, we had a whole full house. Now we're in half, 3/4 of the house. All right, we'll, public comment, Dale Livingston. You could please state your name and address, sir.
Dale Livingston, 1252 Cook School Road, Bridgeville. I know that you guys are getting ready to think about budgets for next year. I'm not sure when the garbage contract is up, but I would strongly consider, ask you guys to strongly consider looking at a different contractor. These guys, they recycle. Every week there's a trail of glass through the neighborhood. They get kids walking, running, people trying to walk pets. Garbage cans are left in the middle of the street, get run over, or thrown up in the yards, whatever, and they're not neatly placed back on the curb line. And there's always stuff that's picked up or missed. Garbage ends up in the middle of the street. There's a number of issues, and we didn't have this before. I realize, you guys have been going with the lowest vendor, lowest cost vendor. Fine, but you get what you pay. You guys are paying for it. We as a community are paying for it.
Unfortunately, we're required to go on those. But I hear you, and I know Joe does a great job on reporting back to them. My big thing of garbage cans being in the middle of the street, or not even on the sidewalk, that's been a big thing that I've commented on. So.
Well, and I applaud Joe for all that he does, but I'm sure that he gets a lot of complaints too.
We're in year 2 of 5. We have 3 more years.
But if you see those things, please call, and there's a hotline that goes from our number to theirs, and if it doesn't get done, then let Joe know. And there's been quite a few times Joe's gotten involved in with at first it seemed like it was fixed. This is the first time I've heard of anything bad, and I'm glad you're reporting it. So.
Well, and with a holiday, their office is open from Monday through Friday. You call on Saturday, you leave a message to get a call back, and you never get a call back. So, it's one of those things, and I hate to be the squeaky wheel, but.
No, we need to hear those
Please,
things. So.
please do, the faster you get it to Joe, the faster it gets noticed to them. They do have rights to cure, but there's like a 24-hour window that starts our clock on liquidated damages and things of that nature.
And we pulled that, and that's how we got correction. It is unfortunate where our collections on Fridays, on holiday weeks, we're on Saturday. And Saturday always turned out to be the perfect storm where there's no one really to call, So I get it, it's very difficult.
I mean, is there anything you get done about the glass in the street?
Sure, if we know about it, we'll get it addressed. Yes, certainly.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Pasquale de Blasio.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all of your efforts here. And yesterday I took a very long walk from Bayview, where the railroad tracks, right over the bar, all the way back through Chartiers Park. And went to the church, to the area where you can't go any further as we came down into Bridgeville. It's rather interesting. There's a lot of activity on that trail. There's a lot of people using it from Upper St. Clair to come into our park. And I believe that it would be very good for us to look at connecting that park, connecting Chartiers Park to our business district and our library. We talk about walkability. This is a way of bringing people into our community in an active way. And it's a nice walk. I'd encourage you to think about how we might be able to do that. It may be a better option than some of the others. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to apologize. Whoever's with the Lions Club, I can't read your handwriting.
That's Laura.
Laura, Bill.
Come on. I'm Laura Underhill, and this is my proxy. We're from the Virtual Area Great Area Lions Club. Good.
Good evening. My name is Mike Crossy. I live at 605 Gander Circle, actually in South Fayette. Laura is president of our Lions Club here in the Bridgeville area. That includes South Fayette, Bridgeville, Collier, Heidelberg. And we're here for a couple of reasons. One, to invite you to attend our pasta dinner coming up. As I'm sure that many of you know, September is National Childhood Cancer Month. So all of the proceeds from our dinner on October 9th go to childhood cancer and childhood diabetes. We are attempting to raise between $5,000 and $10,000 this year. Bridgeville has been unbelievably supportive of our Lions Clubs in the past. We partner with the library to do plastic film recycling. We donate the benches here in the community. I believe we have 2 right now at the library. We have 5, maybe 6 or 4. Dale has been taking care of that for us. Of benches in the community. So, but we're here to invite you. We have some flyers for you, and we'd love to, give them to the mayor, and she can pass them down the aisle for you. But we'd love to have your support at our October 9th fundraiser for childhood cancer and childhood diabetes. Thank you for your time. I'll answer any questions if you have any, but.
Where did you say that was located?
I'm sorry?
Is that the fire hall?
It's at the fire hall.
Catered by PJs.
Pardon me?
Catered by PJs.
Yeah, the food is
Local.
pretty much almost donated. She's doing it at cost for us. So, a lot of the businesses in the community are really going out and supporting us and helping us. Thank you.
And I want to just go on record, thank you for helping with the meadow
Yes.
in McLaughlin Park.
That's what I was just gonna say.
I beat you to it. So, thank you, Lions Club, and Mike Colmer and I belong to the Rotary, and it's always great for us to partner up.
It is
and
great.
Mark too, I'm sorry. I thought you left.
It is great, and you are also welcome to join the Lions Clubs. We have I'm council chair for the whole state, so around the state, we have a lot of members who are members of Rotary, and a lot of Rotary members who are members of Lions. So we'd love to partner with you more and more.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have John and Renee Duncan.
She's not as a wrong sheet. It's the first one.
Oh, it was for the first one? Okay. We won't hold that against you. Superintendent Dan Castagna.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you all this evening, and thank you for your service to the Bridgeville Council. Nice to meet you this evening. I'm just here to introduce myself as the new superintendent of Sargent Valley, open up lines of communication between the school district and the council. Obviously, we want to collaborate as much as we can to create opportunities for kids and opportunities for the community. I believe in to build relationships like that, you have to show up. So that's why I'm here. And if there's ever an opportunity in the future where you'd like updates from the school or a project you'd like to work on, I know grant funders look fondly upon school and community partnerships when they're looking to award grant money. So I'm just here to open that up and know that I'd be more than happy to show up any time. I know we collaborated on the butterfly garden. Mayor Copeland was talking about that was before me. But I am blessed and grateful to be in the position I'm in, and I look very forward to getting to know everybody. I started in January, very hectic time. We had a busy spring, $7 million budget deficit, and then we had to overcome, and about 75 interviews we conducted this summer. So we have been moving. So it's starting to actually slow down for me because once the kids come back, it's the principal's issue now. All our heavy work is done. So it's the first opportunity I got to kind of make my round. So just want to introduce myself and I look forward to working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for the superintendent?
Just a comment that I've seen, obviously I've got multiple kids in all the Chartiers Valley areas, and one compliment I've gotten on the high school and the middle school is the presence of Kellington Security up there. I've gotten multiple compliments on the professionalism. I know there was some stuff in the social media, I don't take much credit to that, but I've been there several times now picking sick kids up or dropping off, and I've had multiple community members thank to share that with you guys that it is making an effect, it is a presence. So
Yeah,
thank you to you guys.
we have very good kids. It's probably the best job I've ever had in education, I have to tell you, 27 years. But sometimes when you have really good kids, you lack some security because you think, what happened here? And those are where things happen. So we did put a lot into upgrading safety and security, and I appreciate you visibly seeing that because it's a big difference.
Yes, and the parking has been great. The parking lots and the asphalt has been great on my old truck.
Yeah.
I'm due for a new one when I get a race job. So, thank you. I mean, again, I've seen the changes. I know you're still dealing with some other stuff, but as a parent of students in every area, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Colmeyer.
Thank you. Bob Colmar, 1405 Missouri Avenue. My comment is regarding agenda item number 11, which reads, a motion to authorize PennDOT to construct 450 feet of new sidewalk to the south side of Chartier Street from Bank Street to Chartiers Park, as recommended by the Planning Commission. I remember this evolving from simply how do we safely cross Chartier Street without playing chicken to get from one side to the other. A couple of things were offered up in discussion in the Planning Commission. One was a possible crossing at Winfield. Now, I know Joe and I have talked about this, and I understand this is PennDOT's road, it's PennDOT's bat and ball, and this is what they've offered to the borough as an alternative to crossing any place else, is to have pedestrians walk up Bank Street, cross Chartiers at Lesnut, and then a new sidewalk being built on the far side, which is the Upper St. Clair side of Chartiers, correct? Joe also knows our council. I had an opportunity to review some of the drawings that are coming our way for Chartier Street at before I retired for CD&R McGuire, and it's a McCormick Taylor design. For PennDOT, there's probably no change in Chartier Street that I can remember seeing, and this is at the 60% completion of those drawings. From the bend up to Bank Street, there's no change. There's no right turn lane, there's no elevation change, there's no realignment. That intersection to drive through, everybody knows, is pretty hairy, making the turn. I have no objection, again, to the sidewalk. They're offering it to us over my 30-some years working with PennDOT. If they offer something, you take it. I just don't know who's going to use it, and they still may cross at the bend, because you have better sight distance. I think this is an opportunity to reply to this, accepting the sidewalk, but have them do some elevation changes to at least the, if you're familiar with the bend, there's a dip there. Bring it up to grade to where sight distance comes through and you can see people beyond from the chest up if you're on Lesnut Street. Follow me? Because you make a left turn and you're watching traffic coming from your right, you may not be looking at pedestrians 120 degrees this way. So I just would think we reply to this in a way that we can get what we want and use, make it accessible. The other thing that I would change, go back a little bit, and maybe Joe, you can clear this up. The reason that PennDOT did not want to have us cross at Winfield, they said it was a right-of-way issue and an ADA, which is the Disabilities Act, that it wouldn't conform to the standards. I think you could make a sidewalk on the other side from Winfield to the new park entrance. Follow me? Without having to go to Bank Street and Lesnut. And still make it ADA accessible. So I'm not convinced that the reason that they did not like our Winfield area was because of ADA. Because they think it can still be done. So.
Why was it on ADA?
I don't know, so they just said they have an ADA committee at PennDOT that reviews constructability, and it said that it went through ADA committee and it wouldn't meet ADA standards for federal funding of the project.
I could guess, maybe, this is just a guess, because I don't know what we proposed to them. You've ever seen a design where it says, this is what the client asked for, this is what he ended up with? If we went in asking for stairs, yes, wouldn't be ADA. But if you asked for a crossing and a curb and a sidewalk, you could make that ADA.
Yeah, that wasn't the request. It went through planning commission. Bob had an excellent suggestion of having a crossing at Winfield, and the planning commission request was a set of stairs down to the turn into the park. Correct.
So when that was denied,
Then PennDOT actually
said,
yes.
how about this?
And Bob had a very eloquent statement here, was that of all our dealings with PennDOT over the past years, and we've asked for speed reduction on Bank Street, speed reduction on Chartier Street, we asked for numerous things. What do we get back? One word, with no explanations, no alternatives. This was the first time they came back saying, you know what, here's an alternative. So you said it very nice, 506, this is their road, this is what they want to do, and they're offering us something, you take it. But you had a very good suggestion with the ramp, and I shot him an email after you came in the office. To Dan. I haven't heard back. If you look at the email chain that's within your packets that led us up to where the planning commission reviewed this 2 weeks ago, it goes to McCormick Taylor, and they typically draw some votes into PennDOT. It's not very quick getting an answer back out of, hey, can you do this out of this project? So your suggestion on, hey, going to the ramp, maybe less of a grade, is spot on, because if you're looking for, hey, ADA and the best aspects of, hey, we're all taxpayers, and state taxpayer, borough taxpayer, we're all the same, and if it's less to do that ramp, good, you know, and I pitched it and I haven't heard back.
One thing I want to mention and point out is that if you look on the PennDOT website, you get the traffic numbers, and they show you what the count is on Lesnut, or what the count, the number of cars on the bank, or Chartiers. What we all realize, but I don't think they do, at least in the study that I saw for the roundabout, they don't take into account that people who drive up Winfield, they don't even go to Chartiers to the end. I don't either. I mean, because it does make it, that change that I'm suggesting with the elevation grade built up, you know.
Is there a possibility that this is like phase one of what their thoughts are with that intersection?
It's a joke, I'm sorry. I just know how they operate.
The left hand don't talk to the right hand here. And we know that what we presented for the roundabout, the roundabout did have sidewalks around it. From discussions with PennDOT, the design of the roundabout it was necessary to have sidewalks everywhere. And it was nice on the Bridgeville sides, they connected everywhere. But on the other side of the street, they don't connect anywhere, but it was designed with sidewalks. So at the planning commission meeting 2 weeks ago, the conversation was that, hey, this will at least get you to the park safer than it is today. Will people cross at the crossing? Some will, some won't, but at least you got somewhere to run to across the street. So it was, it's a real way to think about it. And if by chance the stars align and the roundabout is constructed, these sidewalks would line up with that new roundabout because that roundabout had sidewalks all around. So.
And the opportunity to start those when Chartier Street is closed, and you can do that improvement first phase.
So Joe, you did go back, you did email them and ask them about doing something, what Bob's talking about?
Yes, but this is, just follow the timeline. We had this in front of the planning commission 2 weeks ago.
Correct.
And it wasn't presented to the planning commission. Bob stopped in last Thursday, and I presented this to PennDOT Friday morning.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the time, it's too quick, but just email. But the planning commission did have it on the agenda. They discussed it, and there was a recommendation letter, kind of summarizing just the bullet points that I had. None of us were overly excited about it, but we were more really excited that there was an alternative proposed here. So it's nice to have that dialogue instead of the one word answer we always give.
So what's the process now? Should we further look into what Bob's talking about?
I sent that to the two engineers, one for the consulting engineer that Bob talked about, and the PennDOT engineer for the slide project. They haven't got back to me. We have it on the agenda. I told those engineers last month that, hey, I'll get back to you by the end of the month. And I waited for tonight.
Okay.
So, by all sense, if we need to sit on it for another month and bring this back next month, I'll just tell them, hey, we're still talking about it. We want to hear what you say about the ramp. So, this project has been delayed. I don't think a 1 month delay out of you guys is going to change anything going on up there. So, and I think it's fair.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, are you saying to possibly like table number 11?
If by chance, like, if you guys are saying, hey, Bob's idea of doing a ramp from Winfield into the park is awesome, we want that, scrap the 450-foot sidewalk from the driveway to bank that they came back with, I say don't take action on that agenda item tonight, and let's see what those engineers come back with us next month. Because it could be either two things. One, they say, hey, we like that, and they tell Ty to draw it up, which that's what they do. Or they come back and say no, and then we say next month, motion to approve it.
So are you talking ramp or sidewalk?
Whatever makes, I would say a sidewalk from Winfield over to the new entrance
Yeah, okay.
might make it easier to get through PennDOT. When you're talking the ramp, there's a lot more money involved to make it ADA accessible. But since they're offering a sidewalk, it's only about 200 feet from Winfield to the entrance. The question is whether they'll allow pedestrians to cross mid-block crosswalk. Correct?
Yes. And that's how the whole conversation started with it. As if you remember, we came before, God, it had to be 6-7 months ago, was, hey, we're putting a new sidewalk so that there's an entire sidewalk on the north side of Chartiers. Essentially, we want people to go to the park, and you can't get to the park, there's no mid-block crossing. So we went to Ty, that's the consulting engineer, and he said to have a mid-block crossing, the speed limit on that street has to go 25 miles per hour. So a request was approved by you guys that went to the PennDOT asking the speed limit to be reduced from 30 to 25. No. So then Bob at a planning commission meeting suggested the Winfield crossing with steps down, and that echoed in line with what Councilman Ferry was suggesting. that, hey, if you get down to the bend, it's kind of safer to go into the park versus running down the hill looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, I was just gonna, I love your idea, Bob, and, you know, I'm real hesitant to promote us having people walking across Bank and Lesnet and Chartiers, like, that traffic is nuts, as you know, we live up there. I'd much rather see if somebody wants to access the park, like you said, that route through Winfield. I know you probably have, I've walked through there, and I wouldn't want a lot of people, I want to promote people going through that intersection.
It's slightly better than it was, and bear with me. When Bill and I played baseball down in McLaughlin, we came from Center Street and Liberty Street, where you had to go down Liberty Street, cross Fire Hill Road, up Polk School, down the hill on a rope tied to a tree. Seriously. From Polk School. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
One quick question. These guys, the PennDOT's working on Chartier Street. Let's say they get that done, the roundabout's, what, probably 5-10 years down the line?
I hope not.
Well, knowing how PennDOT works, but hypothetically, trying to cross Chartiers at that intersection of Mayview, Lesnet, and Bank Street, until that roundabout gets built, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you're putting that pedestrian, it's crazy enough for traffic. If you're trying to introduce pedestrians to that, that's not a good thing.
Okay, thank you. All right, any more comments? All right, let's go ahead and start with the business at hand. Number one, motion to approve August 11, 2025 regular meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
Bruce and Justine, any questions? Need a motion? No, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the September 2025 bills. Bruce and Shane, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the September 12th, 19th, 16th, 26th, October 3rd, 10th, 2025 payrolls.
I'll make a motion.
Justine and Jason Sarazik. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to ratify this resolution number 2025-9, authorizing the submission of the GEDTF grant for the McLaughlin Run Flood Control Commercial Street Culvert Replacement Project. Bruce?
Second.
And Jason. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the execution of an agreement by and between the Borough of Bridgeville and Compass Minerals America Incorporated for the purchase of winter rock salt at Shaycog Purchasing Alliance bid price of $88.32 per ton.
Make a motion.
Jason? And Bruce. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any questions? I have a question. What was the last time? 92, so what's down?
It's a new vendor.
So, is that the delivered price?
Yeah.
Do we have a minimum comment with?
Yes. 60% of the estimate we sent. I think, I put a little, there's a few
Yeah,
sticky
there's a couple
notes.
of sticky
And
notes.
you'll see, I think I estimated 700 tons, so we'd be on the hook for minimum 60 tons.
450.
Yeah, that, yeah, there it is. And that's no problem.
Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to accept the 2026 minimum municipal obligation MMO to the police pension plan in the amount of $58,106 as prepared by the borough manager. Bruce and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to accept the 2026 minimum municipal obligation MMO to the non-uniform pension plan in the amount of $111,939 as prepared by the borough manager. Bruce?
Second.
And Justine. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the advertisement of public display of ordinance number 1034, an ordinance of the Borough of Bridgeville amending its zoning ordinance, chapter 27 of its Code of Ordinances and zoning map to establish a new downtown district with related definitions, rules regarding permissible principal and accessory uses, bulk and area regulations, parking and loading requirements, and design standards governing all uses within the downtown district, and also establishing updated regulations governing permissible principal uses in the existing mixed-use zoning district.
Can I have a motion? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Just some of the information we received tonight. Just to go to talk, is there anything that we need to add to the?
Well, this is just the motion for the advertising.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not voting on the.
Once we advertise it without the stuff that was talked about tonight, then you have to redo it, correct?
You would.
So if we table it till you.
Is there a thing that you want to talk to?
I believe that Joe and Brandy and I would take a look at the impact of any of those. I think some of them were in the nature of clarification or interpretation matters. Some of the other comments,
I mean, there was some really good
future
stuff.
contingencies.
So does it hurt us a month? Is that what we'd have to do?
That's at your pleasure.
But real quick, if there is, this is a question for you. So if we do come back that there is significant changes to that ordinance that's already presented and you had a public hearing for, and it already went to Allegheny County Economic Development, well, then we have to start the thing all over to go back to the county?
Yeah, a little nuance on that. The S word, substantial. If you make any change, and maybe it's an exaggeration to say you add a semicolon, but if you change anything that's an amendment, you need to submit that to the county for comment. If those rise to the level of what would be considered substantial changes, then you actually have to have another public hearing. There are times when you're editing and it is a change, but it's not, it's kind of, see it, kind of thing.
But aren't these kind of interpretations of one person's opinion of how they are? No disrespect whatsoever. It's your interpretation.
Right.
But isn't that interpretations of different things that, some of these things I think are just, it's a great point, but we feel it's this way when we set everything up. And that just.
I'll throw a comment. I think when you're looking at this stuff, we want to maximize this opportunity to get it as right as possible. I mean, there was some public comment made. I think that should be at least considered before we push out a particular thing to the public, authorizing advertisement and public display. So I'd rather see it be perfected before we move forward with it. Whether that's, as you had mentioned, or even push it back to the planning commission, so to just look at as and take references to what was mentioned this evening.
Sure.
Can you give me an example of, outside of what the attorney said, what were other comments from him?
Well, that's enough in itself
Okay, all right.
for me.
Okay.
If you come back next month and say there wasn't nothing substantial, then we just move forward, right?
We would still need, I believe, if you do amendments, you need to submit those proposed amendments to the county. You have to do another public hearing. For example, if it was thought that, I don't know before, was tweaking kind of some of the facade standards. If you amended that, yeah, you'd have to submit that to the county. I don't believe that would be substantial.
But if
You
it
have
was
to have another public hearing.
it was a HEPA thing, so that maybe that's something we didn't put in that being language and, just call it HEPA medical requirement. The only thing I was looking at just.
Right, and there actually are accommodation provisions in case law and directly in the ordinances. I don't know if we have one or not. That actually can be handled, I believe, what we do on the fly for interpretation. But some of the comments were, number one, we do it all accessory parking. There's a suggestion to be express accessory is implied, if it's not. And I don't think we did anything to take away accessory parking rights. In fact, I think Randy spoke to them.
And they encourage them to rear.
Yes. You're either not required or they're encouraged. They're implicit to me. There's questions today about potentiality of conflicts between provisions. Can't speak to those without looking at it. That would be an interpretation issue that came up in the past or in the future.
I think we addressed the section.
Again, some of these are clarification issues, defining blank wall, fleshing that out as a suggestion. I do believe on non-conforming uses, I think we do have a generic registration provision like most ordinances have. Doesn't have a quick 6-month shotgun as was suggested here, but I think our ordinance has the non-conforming use section, kind of the generic registration provisions in it. Split zone parcels is something I think that even Mr. Kingman suggested. Could you look at that now? Yes, you could also look at that in the future.
No question. If we do move forward with this, and in the future, what's it take to amend it once it's in law? We have to go through the same hearing process and everything? Amend it?
Yeah, any kind of amendment, you do large or small, even if say you were rezoning one property, if you recently did rezone one property, or if you change even one wall, you still need to go through planning commission, submit it to ACDD, have a public hearing, and then adopt an ordinance.
We only make amendments if it came to us, someone wanted to move.
Your
something forward.
amendments can be driven from
Us or the
a
public.
suggestion of a petitioner, from a board or council, referring to the PC, or a PC, many of them like this one emanate from the PC to council. The amendments can happen in those forms. Primarily, they either come from a directive from council down to the planning commission, or from planning commission suggestions up to recommendations up to council. It's not uncommon, I will say, when you do, this is not a total comprehensive rezoning of your entire community, but it's kind of a comprehensive rezoning of the business district. It's not uncommon that despite the best efforts and work product, that there is sometimes in a year or so, as things are applied to specific instances, that you do end up tweaking, amending, refining, even the best of your plans. Certainly at the board's pleasure as to whether you wish us to take a look as to whether any of these are thought between professionals or consultants to require, or well taken, yeah, should be done now, or whether it's comfort level in the ordinance as it's drafted. Some of these are questions of interpretation, and maybe the suggestion is, A, it could be more clear if there is an intent. So that would be a conversation we would have with Randy.
Last thing I want to do is go through another public hearing, change something. I mean, and it's, just looking at what it's done, having a business and being business friendly, it's a lot of stuff. Maybe we should start forward and have an opportunity to do it for it.
But how are some of these items conflicting with new business coming into town?
That's the only thing
That's what I'm struggling with, because no matter what, you're probably gonna have to, because the interpretation of changing it, somebody's gonna interpret it possibly that maybe you should have that. So we're just opening it up every time, and what happens if another attorney comes and says, well, I interpret it this way? Are we gonna then table it again for additional changes, or suggested changes? It just seems like interpretation of different things that they're referring to. Is it really something that needs to be tweaked? It's just my opinion. have a motion? Has anybody got a motion?
I'd like to take a look at just a few.
I make a motion, we table, so we have there's a motion on the table. Does anybody second it?
A second. I'll third.
All in favor?
And the motion is to, for better clarification between Joe, the planning commission, and as we move forward here.
We weren't gonna take this back to the planning commission.
No, I'm just saying, a conversation with them, not taking it back to them, and just their interpretation of, as they presented it to us, is there an issue changing what they originally intended? And Tom, you guys get together, and if everything's clear for next council meeting, put an agenda, we'll approve it.
And then if things are changed, what is the process? Just to clarify.
If it's substantive at all,
And
some of
who-
these, if they're purely.
Who's defining substantive?
It's, it's a kind of a.
No, who is making that decision? I want that decided right now.
Between Joe and Brandy and me, we would try to make that call on. It's a judgment call. If in our opinion, we believe it to be, there's two things, substantive versus non-substantive, and substantial versus non-substantial. There could be, some of these are clarifications. I don't believe they changed the substance. There could be something that simply clarifies what it exactly says, mean what you say what you mean. Maybe a word actually makes it say, and clarifies what it means right now and says. I don't consider that to be even substantive.
Which means it doesn't go back.
It doesn't really
go back, we can
change.
just approve
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If you might add an adverb, but it's an adjective, but it's not really changing the ordinance in any operative way. Once you start changing things,
So if I change in number 4, first transparency is generally required between 3 feet and 8 feet. And you say, no, we need to change that to 10 feet, or whatever it is, 50%, changes to 45%. Then we have to go through the whole process.
Not the whole process. Technically, that's substantive, but I wouldn't consider that substantial.
Okay, so just by you making that comment now, that tells me that you are the person that needs to make the decision, not Joe, not Brandy. You're our legal counsel, you need to make that decision.
I'm certainly happy to do the last call on that. Well, I, in a professional way, we rely on each other. Yes, I'm happy to make
That's
the
fine,
final
but
call.
you're the final person that has to make that decision.
Sure, in consultation with Mandy and the zoning.
And one of the things that I heard from him was that between the 3 and 8 feet, he basically was saying that this is what's usually written in the ordinances for other municipalities, not 50% of the facade. So that is, for me, his interpretation.
That's fine, if we want to table it, we'll go hopefully to next month, but, well, Tom, you're making the final decision if it's substantiated.
Sure.
The great thing that Jonathan said was that he appreciated the hard work
Oh,
down there.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely, and to be honest, I'm trying to honor that.
Yeah,
part of it.
it's an outside opinion, so it's just, there was a lot of work that went into this. I attended the planning commission meetings as this went along, so.
And again, I mean no disrespect, it's just a lot of the work that has already been done. So please don't.
None taken.
Yeah. Mr. Bailey, I appreciate everything, so it's not,
Mr. President,
it's bringing in conversation.
I understand wanting to get it right and not having to, reinvent the wheel here, but
But thank you.
But I think.
But we can appreciate your comments though too, because that doesn't happen often.
Everybody's been respectful, but I think Tom can have some conversations offline and move this to next month.
I certainly respect as a colleague, Mr.
Okay.
Candace's professional opinions. We'll take those into consideration when we make our final.
So we don't go down the rabbit hole. You specifically know what questions we need to resolve.
The ones that were presented on the memo from the gentleman.
You're gonna do all of them?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor in tabling number 8?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number Number 9, a motion to authorize the scheduling and advertisement of the public hearing to be held on Monday, October 13th, 2025, 6:45, regarding the cable franchise renewal with Comcast. Bruce and Shane, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the disbursement of $15,176 from the sewer fund to Jet Jack Incorporated for the partial payment number 2, final of the Center Street Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project. Bruce and Shane, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 11, we are going to be tabling at this time. Can I have a motion to table it? Second. Bruce and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are tabling number 12. Can I have a motion? Bruce and Justine, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the transfer of 2024 general fund surplus funds of $150,000 to the capital project fund. I'll make a motion. Shane? Second. And Jason? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve change order number 3 for the Gregg Avenue Stairs project, decreasing the contract by $1,800, a result of the final in-place quantities and work completed. Bruce and Justine, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the disbursement of $35,691 from the Capital Project Fund to Avelli Construction Corporation for the partial payment. Number 4, final for the Gregg Avenue Stairs project. Shane and Bruce, all in for questions?
Everybody wants to know when's the grand opening. When can we all go sit at the top of the steps?
Yeah.
The Mike
Have a
Tolmer,
beer or something.
the Mike Tolmer
So
stairway.
sit
It's the Mike Tolmer stairway.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to accept and pay commission due August 2025 real estate tax collector report. So Bruce and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to acknowledge receipt of the August 2025 treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Justine and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to accept all submitted 2025 official reports. So moved. Bruce and Shane, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Did I skip the treasurer's report? I'm going to just pause for a second. Bruce, any report? No, sir. Any questions for administration? Finance Committee is me. The GEDTF application for the culvert was approved tonight, so I'm very excited that that's just a part of what we're pushing towards in that whole project. And Joe was able to send supports to Senator Robinson, Representative Kulik, and Councilman Palomicino. Messina. I always get his name wrong. Yes, sir.
Just to tee up an explanation on this. This is our efforts to put a plan B in place for the project. So we said, hey, let's try to find a way to whittle out phase 1 into different phases and go after funding sources to get those aspects of it built up. That's what we're doing right here.
So that's added from the project that was pulled up from others.
Yes, it's essentially the same project. It's just now I'm trying
Getting
to
funding out.
I'm trying to go knocking on other people's doors.
What's the status of anything new on the other status?
There is two updates with that. The mayor and I did a tour of the flood project with our congresswoman last week, and it was nice because we wanted to get her basically on the ground, understand the whole project, because when the appropriation request goes through, the federal legislature, she's going to have a say on that vote. So we wanted her at the table, understanding how important it is, and it's nice that this project is getting support from both parties, in Washington. So we did a tour with the congresswoman last week, and we checked in with Fetterman's office, and the appropriation is still going through subcommittees, and they told us we wouldn't know anything till sometime in the fall. So in the next couple of months, we should have an answer, hopefully before Christmas. And we'll go from there.
Next Christmas. Go with me next Christmas. Okay, well, just all my comments about Congresswoman Summer Lee showing up, so never mind. The 2026 budget is underway. Well, actually, I could blame Justine for doing that. So, 26 budget is underway.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, just as a reminder, anybody that has any things that need to be added to the budget or requests to be considered, please get those to our manager as soon as possible. And I love to hear that our audits for the liquid fuels was completed, and of course there were no findings. So kudos to our borough manager and his staff on making sure everything goes very smoothly with all of those different audits that they have. Yes?
Yes, and going back to your comment about the budget is a very complex document, and I'm a good way through it for next year. We're still waiting for different contract numbers and insurance renewals to see what those numbers are going to be for next year. But when I started the budget about a month ago, I put out a request saying, hey, please get me your requests or directives by September 10th. So if I can get your information by this week, I need to know this week. Because like if you come in at the 9th hour, at the ending, a lot of it's already done. So please, follow the memo was this week. So please respect my memo and give me this. Yeah, no, we're good. I just want you to know what we're up against.
All right, Finance Committee, any questions for Finance? Parks and Rec, Shane.
Nothing this month. Wow.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and
They do
Rec.
it. I don't want to take anything from Mr. Strasnick over there, so keep quiet.
Any questions for Parks? Public Works, Mr. Sarrazin.
Well, they really didn't cut the grass in the parks this year. I don't want to mention. This month, because it hasn't rained. So there hasn't been a whole lot to do this last month. I mean, as far as the parks, they keep up with the grass and everything, but with it being so dry. One thing that Public Works did do, they did flood mitigation work. Crews cleared and hauled out sediment buildup on the back channel of Church Creek at McLaughlin Run and upstream at Commercial Street culverts and around the Bar Hill Road Bridge. It gives an opportunity to, if it does rain, it does start to rain on a regular basis, we're prepared to be able to keep things clean. Appreciate Joe having those guys do that. They did a good job.
It's a big
I take a look down there. Went down and seen it all, and I mean, they got a lot of sediment out there.
Is that done annually, or is it done like it was done 2 or 3 years ago?
No, we do it at a minimum annually.
Okay.
Sometimes we do it twice a year. This year, we just did it this one big time.
And that's it, truck maintenance and just ongoing maintenance throughout the borough.
We sold the dump truck and we sold the base truck.
Correct.
Any questions for Jason? I'd just like to say, please pass along thank you from the council, because they do really work hard.
They do.
Public safety, Mr. Henderson.
Yeah, really, the only thing we got going on is we're in the middle of trying to hire a police officer. I'll let Gary speak to that on his report, but that's really the only thing I had.
Any questions for Bill?
I have a question. Who takes care of fire hydrants? Anybody? We have a fire hydrant up on Patterson that's been covered up, out of service for going on 3 months now. I called the water company and go, yeah, what's going on? And nobody seemed, they were supposed to call me back, and I haven't heard squat from them. I talked to them in August, and I haven't heard anything from them. So I was just wondering if that's public safety or fire department or what.
Are you guys aware of that? Chief?
We are. I actually reached out to Joe about it, was it last week?
Yeah, last Thursday.
I noticed it was out of service. We were not informed by the water department. Just in my travels, I noticed that. And Joe is in contact with somebody from the water department. He can elaborate further.
Yeah, we got a phone call saying that they're gonna do the work this week, so that fire hydrant should be put back in service.
Okay. What a coincidence. Thank you.
Yep. Charlotte West Cog.
There's no meetings past months and nothing to report.
Are you sure there was no meeting? We don't want to make sure you missed it.
Nope, we have a meeting this month. We don't miss it very much.
Okay. Any questions for Jason?
Is it this month's meeting approved?
Yeah. Mayor Copeland.
The Knights of Columbus 9/11 observance will be held Thursday, 7 p.m. at Corpus Christi Parish. And from Marshall Pampert, once again through Anne Marie, has sent me 3/4 for my collection. Found 2 Frederick Douglass and 1 Tuskegee Airman. And he says, say thanks to all. Thank you.
Show no record. Donation. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Police Department, Chief James.
As Councilman Henderson alluded, our hiring process is ongoing. Us, like everybody else, are all trying to pull from a thin set of candidates. We had 7 people apply, 4 passed. And the 2 people that we were looking to hire were hired by the police departments. So I have a calling to the last candidate left on the list, not saying that that's a bad thing, he scored well, to see if he's willing to, he was recently also hired by Wilkinsburg, to see if he wants to come to the good company. So I'm waiting to hear from him as to his position. If not, we are going to need to retest. That's where we stand, unfortunately.
Any questions for Chief James? Solicitor McDermott?
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to my written report.
Okay. Urban Engineer John Howe.
Mr. President, just 2 items. The 2025 road program work has started on the roads right now, and then we want to do paving. The other item is we're working with, we'll schedule a number of meetings with Alpha San, the adjacent community, Sept Clair, to discuss the road grant funding for the see if we can force into school yard project.
Any questions for John? Fire Chief Costain.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. The month of August was a little light for us. We responded to a total of 28 calls with an average response time from dispatch on scene of 5.5 minutes. Total manpower hours for the month of August. This is just response times. This isn't training, drill, any classes or fundraising or anything of that nature. It was 152.5 hours of manpower hours. As everyone's aware, we did have a fire in the borough last week. Not that there's ever a good time to have a fire, but if there were, it was during our training night. So I'm pleased to report that we had 20 of our 25 members respond to that fire, and they were on scene from the time of dispatch to the time they were on scene was 3 minutes and 11 seconds. So very pleased with everyone's efforts from the fire department on that. That is all I have, Council President.
Any questions for Chief? Southbridge EMS?
Nothing to add, Mark?
Nothing to add. Any questions for Dan? Historical Society.
Linda
Linda Town. I just wanted to say our programs have started up again after we were taking a little break for the summer months. And the next program will be Tuesday, September 30th, 7:30 at the Chartiers Room. And the program will be Waynesburg to Washington Railroad. It was in use from 1876 to the 1960s. If anybody's noticed, we have some really nice landscaping that was just done around the Historical Society. All the money was raised, or all the money came from donations from different entities. One family that likes to give us money every year for the landscaping. That will be, that's already paid for. The landscaping was done by a local landscaper, and they went ahead and put in a lot of perennials now. Home Depot used to put in annuals. This is going to help us over the next couple of years. It'll just keep growing. We'll have to keep replacing. So it looks very nice. We do have a replacement on our board of directors. Laura Gibbons replaced Dick Catano, who had passed away, been on the board for a number of years. And we are planning on a fall bake sale. Make sure you stop in if you want to bake and send stuff down. We appreciate it. That's coming up in October. And the last thing is we have a new design t-shirt, sweatshirt, and hoodies. They say London, Paris, Rome, Bridgeville. And there's sold 15 for the t-shirt, 20 for the sweatshirt, and 25 for the hoodies. So, and stop in and visit. We'd love to have company.
Any questions for Linda? Thank you, Linda. Virtual library, Aaron.
So this morning, the library was on Pittsburgh Today Live. We were on their Books and Beyond segment to highlight Love Your Library Month. If you missed it, it's on their website and their YouTube channel. It's a nice feature. It is currently Love Your Library Month, so we have a few events going on. This week, the Friends of the Library are holding their used book sale on Friday and Saturday. Friday is 10 to 5 and Saturday is 10 to 3. Friday will be a priced sale and Saturday will be a $5 bag sale. And the Friends are also holding a month-long basket raffle. Tickets are $20 for 25 tickets. And we also are having a trivia night fundraiser at the end of the month on the 26th. And you can compete in teams of 2 to 5 people. It'll be $20 per person. And there's more details on our website. And last fall, this Friday is the last of the outdoor classic movies on our patio. And they'll be showing the Thomas Crown there.
You want the old?
Yeah. The old one.
Any questions for Aaron?
I just want to emphasize, as Aaron had mentioned, it's Love Your Library Month. Donations for the library are matched.
They are matched by the Jack Buncher Foundation. It is a prorated match. Up to $500 receives a match.
And the trivia money, if you're going to come to trivia night, we can use teams. That'll also go towards that match, so we can definitely use your support.
That is a Friday, September 26th, correct?
It is a Friday. From
Flyer
7 to
says
9.
Thursday. I was like, make it.
Okay, any questions for Aaron? Parking Authority, Deb.
Stand up so you can see me. Comes from being short. The Parking Authority will hold a meeting here next Monday at 7 o'clock. The remaining 2 lights that we needed in lot number 1 have been ordered, and we're just awaiting their arrival, and then they'll be installed. So that'll be done with that lot. Weed removal and trash pickup continues monthly in all of the lots. Additional fall landscaping will commence in several lots starting in October and November. And additional signage regarding fine maximums, violation reminders have been received and will be hung in all lots this month. And the BBPA continues to operate in the black. And also, the last but not least, the new employee, Joseph Butler, is working well in his enforcement duties, and he also does a great job interacting with the public and the businesses. We've gotten a lot of compliments on our new employee.
Any questions for Deb? Okay, and the Bridgeville Planning Commission, Dale.
It's been a busy year. You guys acted on a number of things, or mentioned a number of things. Downtown zoning is essentially complete, pending your work. or Tom's work, continued work. You know, this past month, we had discussions on North End, the North End discussion about planning and working on the North End issues. McLaughlin Run Park project substantially complete, dedication this week, next week. Chartier sidewalk, you saw the work that we recommended regarding that. Greg Avenue stairway, upcoming. We're looking at potential projects for next year. Most of our heavy lifting has been done so far this year. So we're looking at, you know, Baldwin Street lots and green space, review projects from the comp plan, review projects from the active transportation, and starting to look forward to planning and stuff for next year and in the future. But there was a request, I think, for the traffic engineering request.
Yeah, we want to make sure that it's on the record for you guys, for the North End traffic.
Traffic, you mean put it in the budget?
For the study, yes,
Yeah,
for the study
for the
for North End.
Okay. Any questions for Dale? Okay. Borough Manager Joe Carr.
Following up what Mr. Tolmer was saying, the planning commission made a recommendation essentially off of our request, saying, hey, we're like to see put an extra budget, and trying to continue on the traffic improvements that are necessary along Washington Avenue. The last phase of the Route 50 task force that was put together 10 years ago, the south end we did, Barnacle Road, you can see what was out front. The last one's the most difficult is the north end, and that essentially is widening to improve the bottleneck from Mayor Street to Preston Road, and the planning commission would like to see it come to Barnacle Road. As you know, a couple of us met last fall with our state senator and our state representative, trying to get it on PennDOT's radar. We then, following up to their suggestions, we met with the SPC and we discussed it with their executive director. And we put it through the district executive at PennDOT, and the traffic engineers at PennDOT did a very thorough plan review of the 2015 North End plan, and essentially chewed it apart, which was wonderful, as we wanted. And it essentially laid the guidework of what would make a very good scope of work for the necessary traffic engineering that's needed to take that project to the SPC and the PennDOT to ask for money. And it's essentially everything we did up at the roundabout project, and we partnered with our neighbor and we retained a traffic engineer that put together a very thorough traffic engineering report and design that's constructible. We're hoping to do that here, and using the input from PennDOT, we hope to put a scope of work to get the right traffic engineer to the table. More than likely, probably the folks we've been working with. So bringing on to what the planning commission presented, I presented it to our neighbor. We're working with our neighbor at Collier Township. Hey, if we're going to pony up, we'll just say hypothetically, $15,000 for traffic engineering next year, are you able to match that? And their manager said that they're putting that in their budget as well. So it's nice as both towns are coming to the table and putting money on the table. That we're taking this serious now. So subsequent to the planning commission meeting and the communication we had with Collier, we went back to the SPC saying, hey, PennDOT engineers chew this thing up. Can we ask a favor from you? Can we have your engineers chew this up and tell us what you see, so that once we get their feedback of what they're looking for, essentially they're the ones that are going to fund it if it comes to fruition. And with the PennDOT engineers saying, hey, what we need, well, we'll have one heck of a project that we sharpened our pencil, we flushed out all the details ahead of time, so that we're not wasting our money with a traffic engineer. We took advantage of pro bono consulting work to get us where we need to be. So while all this is going on in the background, we take this into budget season. Over the next couple of months, we allocate a budget. In the early parts of next year, we're able to put together the RFP so that hopefully by this time next year, we actually have a full-blown set of plans and a report like we're doing with Upper St. Clair with the roundabout, we can do with Collier and go back to the SPC. So that's ideally where this train is going. The next couple
If I
little,
can interrupt you for that, we've talked about this in the Route 50 corridor, just separate with Collier Township, and it's kind of funny, Collier's bringing it up now, which normally it was Bridgeville was bringing it up, so they're definitely into wanting to get involved in it.
yeah,
But I still will give you credit. Bob.
no, this is a team.
It is a team, but you're coordinating a lot of that, and I appreciate that.
And it's nice is that, this is a big municipal government cliche, is that the comp plan is more than just something on a bookshelf. And tonight is a really cool example of taking a comp plan to reality and not just something on the shelf. It's like that downtown zoning ordinance recommendation came out of the comp plan. And that came out of the citizens saying that that's important to us. The north end, that's the next component of the economic vitality of our community chapter of the comp plan. So we're really making this a livable document that we're using as our blueprint for the future. Dale touched on the Meadow project, that there's a dedication ceremony next Thursday down in McLaughlin Park at 5:30. That's a small little cherry pick project of the comp plan. So these are all community ideas that were put into a plan that the Planning Commission is very involved in. Every month we go through implementation factors and what do we got to do to just get this project moving. And it's nice is that little things turn into big things, and going into what we're seeing where just doors are being opened and our neighbors are incorporating the same things we're putting in our comp plan into Collier's comp plan for the north end. That's really remarkable that in a roundabout way, Little Bridgeville is really being the guiding figure in a regional aspect for the greater good of the Chartiers Valley. So it's really a neat thing that tonight was a unique local government at its best. So I thank you for that. Couple little notes for our next meeting. Before we come back, we're going to have our very first inaugural meeting of the Bridgeville Shade Tree Commission on Monday, October 6th at 7 o'clock. We're trying to make it special, so Mayor Copeland will start the meeting and swear them all in, and it's inaugural that we're going to kick that off in style, and the agenda has been posted out on the board. We have agenda items up for the commission. The 5 commission members are excited. We've been talking to the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy so that we can have a fall project lined up to give this something to run out of the gate. And we created a page on the website, as you see, for Planning Commission Council, so that their meetings will be televised, they'll be recorded, and stuff will be all posted on there, so everything we're good. The LCB, and this is a nice project that working out for our businesses, and the solicitor was very instrumental in. If you remember last month, there was a request, we adopted a resolution at the request of our business to adopt a standard where this business would be exempt from following the LCD's noise ordinance and then de facto follow the borough zoning, which is the borough noise regulations. More to my surprise, there was a very formal hearing like we had tonight inside a bar. It was really cool. I've never experienced.
No drinks involved.
No drinks involved, but it was unique where the LCB required to have the public hearing within the limits of the facility that was seeking the exemptions. Typically, it would be a neighborhood or a block that you would have the exemptions. You can have it here at the town hall. There we were specific to hey, we wanted a crafty jackalope. So the public hearing was a bar full of people like you had here. And we had it on a Wednesday afternoon. They had a hearing officer, stenographer. A lady drove in from Harrisburg. It was a very formal ordeal, more than I ever expected it to be.
Good experience.
Yeah, and she drilled me like a defense attorney would, you know. So it was a good experience, and it was nice where the LCB took up the exemption request at their following month's meeting in Harrisburg and approved the exemption so that they'll follow the borough's regulations. The only caveat is that they only granted it for 1 year, so we've got to come back here next year and refile, and we'll have another hearing.
They want to come back.
Yeah.
It goes 1, 3, 5, is that what?
That's kind of their standard operating procedure coming out of their decisions. They do like a 1, a 3, a 5, and then a perpetual, I guess.
Which makes sense, because then after a year, if the noise is too loud, somebody has the opportunity to voice their opinion, so that makes sense.
So who would the residents voice their opinions too? You or?
It's just like following a complaint. Typically, you would call for the police, because a lot of it's handled in the evening hours, and the police typically handle it by.
Did any
going to
residents go to that meeting?
There was a lot. No, the room was stacked, you know, but, there was a lot. Yeah. There was a lot of people there. A lot of residents that were in close ties to the restaurant gave testimony.
And so they,
All positive.
Yeah,
There was no negative.
Right down to the, and again, they gave truthful testimony, but there were folks that, frequented the place. There were folks who actually were musicians, a couple different kind of persons that actually played there. Down to the fellow who, and he was an employee at one point too, but the tenant upstairs, right on the other side of the wall upstairs, which was very helpful, I think, to the PLCB attorney. She cross-examined that person and all of them, but was satisfied with the.
so the police know, can identify noise complaints and
Yes.
report to you?
Yep, and the chief's been involved.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's pretty cool. It was unique. And that's pretty much all I had in addition to my written report. If you have any questions?
Anything else for Joe?
I do have one question, because you all got this in your package about the Dark Sky International. Any questions, complaints, any, I know this is not going to go into the rezoning at this point, but at the same time, at some point, it's going to come back up, because I'm going to bring it up in planning. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that, this is, for me, this is important. And I think it's about time we consider it.
It's a nice idea, for sure.
So how will that work, Justine? As we have lighting packages submitted or things we do,
Well,
will we do a cost comparison, kind of like to a regular
I
LED?
don't know. All I
Okay.
know is that, number one, you're never going to become, as a community like Bridgeville, you'll never become dark sky authorized. All right, that goes to places like Glacier National Park or Shenandoah National Park, those sort of things, because there's a lot of requirements. All I'm asking is that let's just say, as we talk about maybe redoing the streetlights on Main Street, okay? At some point, can we replace those with softer lights? Or even in the city of Pittsburgh, they have an ordinance now that certain lights are on timers. So that if they're not being used at a certain period of time and there's no safety involvement, then they'll turn off, So it's just simple things like that. My ultimate concern would be changing to a softer light on Main Street or any other lights that go in. I mean, I talked to you before. That safety light from Northwest parking lot shines right in my bedroom. All right, and it lights up my bedroom. And I don't know how far away from Northwest Bank I am, but I certainly don't appreciate it.
Try Red A's lights.
I'm sorry?
Try Red A's lights.
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, the good thing is that when somebody complained about the beer warehouse, they did put beer boxes over top of them. All right, so it's focusing the lights. That's all. It's simple things. All I'm asking is for the simple things.
Okay. That's a good thing to consider. Yes, sir.
Anybody hear what might happen to the old Rite Aid?
Oh, yeah.
No, nothing.
Lots of talk, but nothing.
Okay.
Dollar
That's-
General. Pharmacy.
Okay, any new business other than the Bridgeville South Fayette Rotary Chili Cook-Off is October 19th, South Fayette. Commissioners are putting in a chili, just as a heads up, if anybody from Bridgeville would like to put in a chili. And so is Devlin, of course, Devlin does it every year. So, Ray, did you have something?
Did you get the banner?
Actually, we should get that this week. So after you go to a pasta dinner on October 9th, October 19th is the chili. Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, Bruce and Jason, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.